Welcome to What a Creep, the show with Margot Donahue and Sonia Mansfield talking about creeps from the past to the present.
This is your quick guide to the biggest creeps, jerks, assholes, and losers, the best of the worst.
From two nice ladies who want the world to be a little less creepy.
Welcome back to What a Creep. This is Margot Donahue, and my cohort in creepitude, as always, is the amazing Sonia Mansfield. Hey, Sonia.
Hi, my friend.
Hello, my friend, and good morning. This is a morning recording for us.
It is. I'm here drinking my coffee I'm right on top of that rose mug that Margot sent me that I love.
I'm slurping down the coffee as well. We came up with the idea for this segment. We were talking about the New York Times that we're both subscribers. Long time. I don't know about you, but
yes.
Long time subscriber. And I get the hard copy every weekend. And even though, look, no news outlet is 100% correct all the time.
Correct.
And
exactly.
You were a journalist.
Yes, I know. And I wrote for the San Francisco Examiner, which like the news section, the art section, the sports section, quite representative of the city. The opinion page, not so much. Not so much.
Yeah, we've had some issues with the opinion page for the Times, and I think that's going to be its own separate show because that's its own ball of wax that we'll deal with at another time. They had something a recent one from the actual editors of the New York Times that was appalling and stupid.
Yeah.
We'll get to it. But it always takes me back to the murder of Kitty Genovese because it was the New York Times that labeled her murder as the one where they said in their headline 37 people watched and nobody did anything. And it's called the Genovese Syndrome or the Bystander Effect, which is when apathy exists, when there's a group of people they don't help when they should. Turns out it's all a big pile of bullshit, and we will discuss that. Oh, this is a good time for me to go through the top of the show kind of stuff. We are on socials. We do have a basic Facebook page, but that's where people go to complain about our language. Like you just heard, we use salty language in this program.
Fuck yeah.
We do have a private Facebook group. Y'all that are trying to ask to join, you do need to answer the questions in order to come in. Just listen to the beginning of an episode. You'll pretty much get it. We are on Twitter at CreepPod because somebody had What a Creep for 10 years and never used it.
Creep.
We're on Instagram at What a Creep Podcast, and we have an old-timey email, whatacreeppodcast@gmail.com. And if you would like some stickers, we had some people reach out about that. Just send along your address. I'm happy to drop them in the mail for you. And just would also like to give a shout out to people who left us 5-star reviews on iTunes. Stacy, Rain 12, and Brimstone Sulfur.
Whoa.
We also got a positive remark on Podbean. I'm sorry, the person who left it, I didn't remember to write down your name, but thank you so much. She listens on Podbean.
Thank you.
And if you listen on Spotify, they now take reviews. So wherever you get your podcasts, if you like the show, leave us a review. That would be really sweet and really nice, and it helps us with our standings. And I'd also like to say thank you to new Patreon members, Simaj and Mandy. Thank you so much for joining our Patreon page.
Thank you.
We have the first 4 seasons of our show behind the Patreon wall. We also put out 2 bonus episodes a month, and we have a newsletter that goes out. And starting, I believe, April 1st, I'm setting that up next week, we're going to have a yearly donation.
Yes.
You just donate the one time, and you don't have to think about it for 12 months. How easy is that?
How delightful.
It's super delightful. So hang on to your knickers, girls. If you're interested in that. Well, we have a lot of dudes that listen too.
Yeah, I was just going to say, hang on to your gender neutral knickers.
Yes. Okay. Much better. Sonia, tell them about the website.
Yes, you could go to whatacreeppodcast.com, and it's everything you ever wanted to know about our podcast, but we're afraid to ask. It's got links to all of our seasons except 1 through 4, which is behind the Patreon wall. And it's got a link to our merch shop where you can get tote bags and journals and t-shirts and face masks, which are really comfortable. I'm still wearing my mask. I know that we're all thinking the pandemic's over. I don't really think it is. I'm still wearing my mask when I'm out and about and public transportation and whatnot. And these are quite comfortable. They're my faves.
It's my thing now for public transportation, especially. I'm just
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't think I will be going back to not wearing a mask on public transportation. It's too gross in there.
You can give me all the side eye you want. It's not going to stop me.
Exactly. I'm like, all I know is I don't want COVID, any of its variants, or a cold. Thank you very much.
I don't want colds anymore. They're fucking gross. I've only had a couple now the last 2 years, and they really grossed me out.
Yes, I will only be getting them.
And touch things with a runny nose, right? I'm disgusting.
Gross. I will only be getting colds from my child now. That is the only way, the only acceptable way for me to get a cold virus.
Okay, everyone, we are going to be talking about the murder of Kitty Genovese. Oh, forgot to mention, next week, it is my birthday week. My birthday is March 29th, everybody.
Birthday!
We are not recording a new episode next week, but if there's something you'd like us to replay, and it could be something from the first few seasons if you want. Yeah.
Somebody could be, y'all could be real smart about this and pick one of those Patreon episodes.
Reach out to us on all the social media things or send us an email. Let us know which one you'd like to replay, and we will pick the one that's the most popular. Whew. Okay, I'm going to bring up my script, Sonia.
Yep.
What do you know about Kitty Genovese?
Just basically what you said at the top of the show. I know there's a documentary as well on Netflix, and I do love a true crime doc, but I haven't watched it.
Well, the murder of 28-year-old Kitty Genovese made national news when the New York Times on March 27th, 1964, claimed in their headline that 37 people watched as she was stabbed to death and did nothing to help her. The expression Bystander Syndrome was developed partly because of her crime, and her death became a symbol of apathy and a lack of community on the rise.
They're coming for you.
I know, right? None of what we were taught turns out to be true. Today, I will talk about the real Kitty Genovese, what police work was like in the 1960s, and being gay and around the police in the 1960s, by the way.
Ooh, yeah.
A great time. The terrible reporting by the Times and other news outlets, and what we can learn from this travesty. And here are the trigger warnings. Murder, sexual assault, and rape. My sources, get ready. Hold your... We put everything, by the way, in the show notes, so the links are there for you. You could check them out yourself. Sonia, I kind of went deep. You're going to... I know.
All right. That's great. Let's do it.
The murder of Kitty Genovese, Wikipedia... Bystander effect on Wikipedia, the original article written in the New York Times by editor A.M. Rosenthal, the American Psychological Association, the Daily Beast, Chicago Tribune, New York Times, Winston Moseley death, creep, the New Yorker, A Crime to Remember, which is a series. It's now streaming on Amazon. It's season 2, episode 1. There's the documentary The Witness, which is streaming on Amazon. If you watch it also with IMDb, you have the commercials, but you can stream it. The New York Times obit for Sophia Farrar. The Guardian, the original New York Times article, like I said, 38 Witnesses by A.M. Rosenthal. This is a book that came out a couple of years after she died by the editor who got everything wrong.
Cool.
Kitty Genovese by Catherine Polinaro. 50 Years After Kitty Genovese by Peter Hellman and Albert A. Seidman. Yes, I did my research.
Yeah, you did.
Okay, let me bring you back up so I can see your beautiful face. Okay.
My shocked face.
Kitty Genovese was, like I said, 28 years old, and she was going home from her bartending gig in Queens. She actually left her gig, and she had a date and then dinner with friends. Kitty was from Park Slope, Brooklyn, which is where I live.
Oh, yes.
Her family moved to Connecticut because of the rise in crime and the rising crime rate in New York. In the year that she died, there were 636 murders in New York City.
Dang.
Yeah. But Kitty loved New York City, and she tried living in Connecticut, and she was like, nah. She came back to New York. She loved the nightlife. She liked to boogie.
I was just going to say that she liked to boogie.
She did. She actually loved folk music. It's the early 60s.
Yeah.
She also was married for 6 months when she was 19 and then had the marriage annulled. Never talked about it. Never to anybody.
Interesting.
It turns out she was a lesbian. She was gay. And
I did not know this.
No, you didn't?
Right. No, I never heard this.
She grew up in a Catholic, Italian Catholic family, excuse me. She was the oldest. I believe it's 5 kids. And it just was people didn't talk about it very much then. The life of a gay person in New York City in 1964 is a hell of a lot better than a gay person in Connecticut or anywhere else. But you could still get arrested for just about anything. And you were still treated like crap. And it was scary. The lesbians were treated a little bit better than the men, but not by much.
Right.
She would go to gay clubs once in a while, and that's where she met her girlfriend, Marianne Zelenko. And Marianne was this gorgeous blonde, looked like Kim Novak, everybody said. And Kitty was this 5'2", 100-pound, sprightly thing. Just everybody described. They have all these home videos and The Witness. She's just effervescent. She's like a little manic pixie dream girl. That's Kitty Genovese. Just energy and light and love, and everybody loved her.
Oh.
And she gets out of school. She gets married. Married life doesn't work out. She divorces. She has a marriage annulled, excuse me. So Kitty gets a few jobs. She's working as a barmaid. And then she gets a job working in Hollis, Queens. It's Christmas time in Hollis, Queens. She's working at a bar, and she's the manager. And her shift is from 8 to 6. And she takes care of the books, and she takes care of the shipments. And then she's, the day drinkers. That's her crowd. And then at night, she would either go back to her girlfriend and their apartment in Kew Gardens. And Kew Gardens, by the way, cute little town in New York City, has Tudor homes. When you're taking the train, because when I first moved to New York, I lived in Long Island. You go through Long Island Railroad, it goes right through Kew Gardens, and you just go, oh my God, this place is cute. Low crime rate. Very, very quiet. And it has these homes that are very expensive and fancy, and then these apartments were cheaper, and they were above the bookstore and the bars and things like that. And so Marianne, they both had day jobs, and then sometimes they, like any couple, sometimes they hung out at night, or sometimes they did their own thing. And every once in a while, Kitty would get set up on a date, and she'd kind of have to go to keep up the appearances, because 28, you're not married.
Yeah.
What's going on? And
what are you doing with your life? You're going to be an old maid. You're going to be a spinster.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What are you going to do? Work at a bar your whole life? I mean, she wanted to. Yes. She was totally happy. Like, they had a great life. She and her girlfriend, I hear this, I'm not lesbian, but I hear from my lesbian friends, like, the second date you move in, or you make the arrangements to move in. Like these two.
Yes. That's a joke, a lesbian joke about what does a lesbian bring to a second date? A U-Haul.
Yes.
Yes.
That happened to them. So they met a year before, and they were living together in Kew Gardens. Kitty is coming home, and she went on the date, and then she met friends for drinks at another place, and she's coming home 3 a.m, and she had a little red Fiat. You could picture her. She was just so cute. She parks at the train station and then heads up to her apartment. And as she's walking, she notices a man is noticing her and following her. And he has a mask on. Scared.
You mean a ski mask?
Some kind of mask. I know.
Okay.
I mean, he was covering his face.
Yeah.
Okay. So it could have been a ski mask, but I mean, it's like he covered his face. Let me paint the picture. It's 3 a.m. It's March, and it's March 13th. It's cold in New York in March, especially at night. It's damp cold. There's a bar that's open till 4 a.m, and sometimes it's just rowdy. People get drunk in bars. They have arguments. They go out in the street, and they get into fights. So there's this apartment building that's across the street from her, and